Historically, jury trials in both criminal and civil cases have been an important part of the American legal system, although over the years the number of civil jury trials has declined significantly. We're talking today with renowned trial lawyer Steve Susman, who, among his many other accomplishments, has established the Civil Jury Project at New York University Law School to take a look at civil jury trials and the consequences of the decline in jury trials in the civil system. Steve, what is the Civil Jury Project that you've started?
It is an academic center that investigates why civil jury trials are disappearing, whether we should be concerned about that, and if so, what can be done about it. Those are the three questions we are asking. The right to jury, both civil and criminal, was the most important right our founding fathers put in the Constitution, in the founding documents. It's mentioned 5 times, once in the Bill of Rights, once in the Constitution, and in 3 of the Bill of Rights it's mentioned. I mean, in the Declaration of Independence it was mentioned first as a reason for breaking off from England. So it's the only right that gets such prominence, and the founders thought that a jury was, whether it be a criminal jury or a civil jury, is the ultimate guardian of the little guy, the average citizen, against either government or big businesses trying to take away your property or your freedom.
Why is it such a safeguard?
Because you can't rig a jury. I mean, it happens to be, there are two, it's funny, I'm here today because today's our National Election Day, and there are only 2 instances under our constitutional system of government that people actually participate as directly part of the government. You are a direct participant in democracy when you vote today and when you vote on a jury. And the notion was, just like you can't really rig millions of people out there and control how they're going to vote, you can rig, you can rig other things, but you can't rig the voters, and you cannot rig a jury either. 12 people show up, you don't know who they're going to be before they show up to begin hearing the evidence. The judge, they were always scared that the judge would do the bidding of the king, that the judges appointed by a particular president would rule for the government in the cases brought by the government. But a cross-section of the community has to decide what the ultimate consequences are of breaking the law, whether it be a civil violation or a criminal violation.
So why has there been such a decline in the number of jury trials in America?
Because the decline has been unbelievable. The average federal judge, for example, last year tried under 4 cases, only 3 of which were jury cases, compared to 22 cases in the 1960s. Last year, less than 1% of all civil cases were decided by a jury, disposed of by a jury. In the 60s, over 10% of cases were. So why is it decline? I think the main reason is that beginning in 1980, there was the idea promulgated by the Business Roundtable, the Chamber of Commerce, that lawsuits are bad things, that most lawsuits are frivolous. There's a litigation explosion, and we had all these reform movements: tort reform, antitrust law reform, security law reform, patent law reform, class action reform. All these reform movements designed because the feeling was it was unfair to make a company go before a cross-section of the community, people who, some were very smart, some weren't so smart, some were highly educated, some were not, and bet the company on the verdicts of 12 people. And it was a public relations campaign that began in the 80s and has basically brainwashed the American public and judges in this country to think that, jurors are dangerous. We need to make sure that only the best of the best cases go to the jury. So they began creating all these doctrines that makes it more expensive to go to trial before a jury, take longer, and simply there are very few cases that that can pass through all these screens that the judges have erected to keep out the so-called frivolous case.
So I have about 45 seconds left, but what do you think can be done to reverse that trend?
Well, first, we got to tell the public that the trials are disappearing. Most people don't know that. It's a litigation explosion. Second, we got to tell the people that serving on a jury is great fun and a great experience. People who serve love it. People who are summoned and are not selected think it's something to avoid. So we got to get out that message to people. And finally, we got to convince the users of a public dispute resolution system that 12 sets of eyes and ears, 12 minds are better than one. And you're going to more likely get to the truth of a matter with 12 jurors than you will with a single judge. That's the message that we have to deliver.
Well, thank you to Steve Susman, a nationally renowned trial attorney who has started the Civil Jury Project at NYU. That's it for this edition of Bloomberg Law. We'll be back tomorrow.